All right, you're all set, John.
Excellent. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's presentation. We are joined today by Haley Daivs with Collette Vacations. I know a number of you saw us in the Military Officer magazine. And so the presentation today is going to take place in three parts. I'm going to start out, I'm going to talk a little bit about MOAA Vacations, MOAA groups, and specifically Moa Signature Groups. Haley's then going to talk about Collette, for those of you who aren't familiar with Collette. And then she's going to go through and talk about three of the groups that we have with Collette for MOA members. They were in the magazine. Two of them are Greece, one of them is Israel. And she's going to kind of go through those in a little bit more detail. And then we'll end with the Q&A. There is a chat at the bottom. If you put your cursor at the bottom of your screen, you'll see it. I did go ahead and put a message in chat. That includes a link to the MOAA Vacations website page where we list all of the MOAA group departures. So if you go there, you'll see both the Greek tours that we're going to talk about today, as well as the iconic Israel tour. So you can click on that. It has complete, full information on all of those, and you'll see some other departures we have as well. So feel free to reference that either during the presentation or when we're done. We always like to tell everybody we do tape these presentations. After the presentation's over, Haley will send it to my team. My team will upload it to YouTube, and then we'll email everyone tomorrow a link to this presentation. So you can review any parts of it that you may have missed if you get interrupted during the presentation. Or since we started right on the hour, if there's something of interest that you want to revisit, just make a note or a mental note of what time that is. And let's say we're 35 minutes into the presentation. Then when you get the copy of the video, instead of having to wait 35 minutes to get to it, you can just fast forward to that point of the presentation. Like we do with all of the trips we book here at MOAA Vacations, we invite you to bring along your friends and family. They are invited on MOAA groups, MOA Signature Groups, even if it's just you and one other couple, family or friends that want to do Collette or any of the trips we book. They're more than welcome to come along. And if they come with you, they will receive all of the MOAA benefits, so the MOAA discounts, the MOAA amenities, and the ability to go with the MOAA group. So just wanted to talk real quick about MOAA Vacations. I know most of the people I saw that registered have been on one of these before, so I'm just going to go through this really quickly. But we are the official travel agency for MOAA. And you can see the four things we list, and those are the four reasons we say that we are different than other travel agencies out there. The superior service. We basically put this out there is the fact that we are the only travel agency in the United States, actually in all of North America, that does travel on a satisfaction guaranteed basis. And so that means if you have any issues before, during, or after you travel, you contact us and we resolve those to your satisfaction. So we have superior service. We guarantee the lowest price. We have free amenities. We actually have a program that we have with a number of cruise lines and tour companies where, in addition to the lowest price, they have what we call MOAA exclusive amenities, and Collette is a participant in that. With Collette, actually, the amenity is an additional discount. So on any Collette tour you book, because you're a member of MOAA, you will save an additional $50 or $100 per person. So that's any tour, any destination, any date. And we have 20 plus other vendors that do that as well. And then the last thing we talk about, which is why I think a lot of you are here today, is you have the ability to travel with your fellow MOAA members with the MOAA group departures. So, and it doesn't even need to be from your same city or local chapter. When we put these groups together, they're opening up to MOAA members from all across the country. Now, within that kind of MOAA groups, and Haley's going to talk about three of those later today, and I mentioned we have the link in there to all of them that are currently booked for next year. We have what we call a MOA Signature Group, and a MOA Signature Group is what I like to refer to as like a group on steroids. So we take a normal group and we enhance it a number of different ways. One of which is they are exclusive departures. So when we do a cruise, and we've done these in the past, we pretty much charter the ship. And by chartering the ship, that's an industry term that means we basically just reserve every cabin on the ship. So when you go on that cruise, every person you meet on that ship will be a MOAA member or one of their guests. On the tour side, when we do this, we actually take over everyone on the bus is going to be a MOAA member. And we have one of those I'm going to talk about in just a second, but it is a tour of Iceland for next year. And on this tour of Iceland, we actually have 2 buses. And so when you go on this tour, everyone on that bus will be a MOAA member. The signature groups are hosted by MOAA leadership and staff. In fact, for next year for Iceland, there'll also be a MOAA Vacations staff member on those buses as well. They are exclusive. We have exclusive onboard events and excursions. And I'm not going to kind of go through that today, just to let you know we do unique things. But one of the things we've been mentioning that we're doing on the tour of Iceland is instead of going to a volcano museum, we're going to actually have a live lava show. Typically, the summertime Iceland tours, and we're going in September. If you want to see the Northern Lights, you need to go in the winter. Too much daylight during summer. In fact, in some parts in the summer, it's never dark enough to see them. But we will have what we're calling a Northern Lights safari during our tour. So one night at dinner, if the weather conditions are favorable, people will be, we'll let everybody know at dinner that night, hey, we're going to do the Northern Lights safari this evening. After dinner or whatever time is best to go out, depending on when it gets dark. That bus will take everybody outside the city limits so you can get the best possible view of that. That's something that Collette does not offer on any of their fire and ice itineraries during the entire summertime. So those are the types of things that we do on when we talk about the exclusive events. I mentioned already, family and friends are invited. We get this question all the time on the signature group, since we say everyone on the bus or everyone on the cruise ship is going to be a MOAA member. If I say that and don't include the caveat that everybody on board will be a MOAA member or their guest, I apologize. But everything we do for MOAA members such as yourself are designed to make sure you have the most fun possible on your trip. And if you'd have more fun bringing your brother along or your kids along or your neighbors or whoever it would be, absolutely bring them. And then the last thing, it's a rare opportunity. We only do 2 of these a year. Next year, the 2 we have are our Columbia River Cruise in July for the 4th of July. And then we have Iceland in September. And so real quick, this is the dates for Iceland. Haley, next slide, please.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, so I mentioned we have 2 buses. We actually only have space left for 2 rooms or 4 people. So there's only so many seats on the bus, and there's only so many hotel rooms that were reserved. So I'm going to include the link. Here, let's see, go right there. Oops. Enter. Okay, so I just put that in the chat as well. We actually have a website designed exclusively for this departure. It has the day-to-day itinerary. It has all the other information you'd be. So if you're interested in Iceland, give it a look and let us know right away, because as I mentioned, we only have 4 seats left on the second bus. The first bus is completely full. We're not going to have a 3rd bus. So if that's something that you're interested in, please let us know. With that being said, that's all I really had to kind of say about MOAA Vacations. As I mentioned, while Haley's talking, if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in chat. I will either answer them during Haley's presentation, or when Haley gets done, I'll be back and Haley and I will answer all the questions you have. So without any further ado, I'd like to thank Haley for joining us today and turn it over to her.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you again, John. Really appreciate this. And just a quick little caveat. So I am coming to you from a hospital conference room. So I just want to give a little heads up. I had to travel today, and so I had to find a place to stay. And they let me use their conference room. So if I get interrupted, if somebody's trying to print something, because I do have the little print office here, I just want to let you know that if you just kind of hear a little bit of commotion. But so I'm Haley Daivs. We're currently working with the Kansas and Jon and Brinko and MOAA. But this will be the last time you see me, because we do have a new hire for Kansas. So you'll be seeing her kind of from now on. But just wanted to introduce myself. I'll be taking over the Missouri region. I've been with Collette for about a year, but I've been in the travel industry for 13 years. So I've been around for a while with them. If you don't know who Collette is, we've been around the longest. We're the oldest tour operator in North America, almost 105 years now. We actually have been about 3 decades partnership with the Wheel of Fortune as well. So a lot of people recognize us from that. So we just like to point that out, that you're traveling with a reliable company. We've had a very long standing relationship with MOAA Vacations and Brinco as well for a long time. So we really value that partnership, and we're really thankful to be able to bring some great trips to y'all. And then just a quick overview about Collette, what we offer and kind of what makes us a little different. So we're a 4-star guided tour company. We're going to really seamlessly take care of all those logistics for you, and then also give you some free time as well to enjoy. We're handling the baggage. So between all the different hotels, you won't have to touch that 50-pound bag. We're going to take care of that, deliver it to the hotel room, and vice versa as we move on to the next destination. And then we're creating more of these enriching cultural experiences. So we're more than just a sightseeing checklist. We really want to enhance your experience. We provide different unique fun adventures to really connect you to the culture, but then also give you some free time. And we do more of what we consider a relaxed tour pacing. So on average, we stay about 2 to 3 nights per stay versus some of our competition that typically moves every day. So we just want to give you more time in destination to really immerse yourself, but then also give you some free time that you can go enjoy some experiences as well that you want to see. We're going to have a dedicated tour manager with you along the way. So they're really there to provide that very memorable experience. They know the destination really, really well. So definitely utilize their knowledge, ask them questions during your free time, where you should go shop, any different restaurants, things like that. They're definitely useful. So take advantage of them. And then, of course, throughout the tours, we're going to bring in some local expert guides as well that really know their culture and history, and they'll be able to bring some of that stuff to site or to life for you as well. And then, of course, entrance fees, things like that are already included, so you won't have to worry about that. And then we just really put a lot of effort into planning these really nice itineraries. So we actually have a dedicated team. They go out in the field, they're touring the hotels, they're evaluating the guides. And then of course, all the surveys that you guys complete and bring back to us, we're always evaluating those and making some changes to benefit you all too. So we really want to put a really nice itinerary together. And then one of the really unique inclusions that Collette offers, and we have a very unique service through MOAA Vacations as part of the group, you're always going to get this private sedan pickup service. So from start to finish, it's a very stress-free way to travel. We're going to pick you up from your hotel or from your home. So if you're within 50 miles from, we have basically 90 gateways out there. So for most major airports out there, if you're within 50 miles, we pick you up. We have a nice sedan service that will take you directly to the airport. And then we'll always have somebody waiting for you when you return to take you back to your home as well. So really nice experience from start to finish there. And then of course, you don't have to worry about all the hassles about getting there and paying extra for parking. And then we allow you to customize your adventure as well. So you'll have the opportunity, if you want to upgrade your airfare to any business or premium economy or first class tickets, MOAA Vacations can give you a quote for that. We'll have different optional experiences that you may be able to sign up for on many of our tours. And then of course, different dining experiences that we'll include in there. So you can always sign up for any of those things. And then any of our tours, we allow you to customize to add any pre or post night. So if you want to go a little bit earlier, have some free time to enjoy on your own, you'll have the ability to add any pre or post nights as well. And then some of our tours will have extensions that we've kind of already created for you, and you can sign up for those as well, which we'll go over with some of our itineraries that do offer those. For all the trips that we will be talking about, passports will be required. So just double check your expiration date for that particular one to make sure. So most countries require a 6-month window of when your expiration date can expire on from the day that you arrive. So just make sure that you won't need to renew that before any of the trips that you're going to be going on. So just keep that in mind. And then we do have a loyalty program. So any of you that have traveled through Collette in the past, we do have this automatically waiting for you. So this is in addition to your MOAA discount that you'll receive. So this is $150 off if you traveled within the last year with us. And then you get $100 off. And this is the per person rate if you travel within 13 to 24 months. So within 2 years, you'll get an additional discount too. So just a way for us to thank you for being a really good partner. And then without further ado, we'll jump into the different destinations. I'm going to stop my video just so I can make sure that you can see the full screen, because I don't want you to miss anything there. So Greece is one of those destinations to me that really combines that thousands of years of history, but you have the ancient ruins, but you also have gorgeous scenery. You've got these charming, iconic islands of the Mediterranean. The weather is going to be beautiful here in May. You can expect anywhere between 70s and 80s. Of course, during the coast, when we go over to Santorini and Mykonos area, that may be a little bit cooler with the winds and stuff coming off the sea. But this is really kind of one of those bucket list trips that everyone wants to go see with Greece. And I love this itinerary because we're going to give you the opportunity to see the inland, which I think a lot of people miss. They kind of just go straight out to the islands. So this will give you the opportunity here to see a lot more of the history. So if you are a big history buff here, this is a great opportunity because this is where a lot of our, historic history books really kind of come from. So you'll have the opportunity here to see a lot of that. As you see the route here and the circles, those are the number of nights that you'll stay in each location. So we're actually going to fly in and out of Athens. We're going to start here for 2 nights before we move up north, and we're going to hit Kolombaka, stay there for 1 night before moving over to Arapova for 1 night, and then we'll stop in Olympia for 2 nights. And then we'll move over to Nafplio, which is where you'll stay for 2 nights. Then we make our way back to Athens. You're going to board a ferry that will take you over to Mykonos. You're going to stay here for 2 nights and then head over to Santorini for 3. We'll fly you back over to Athens for your last night before you return home. And then we do have a pre-extension over to Rome for 3 nights if you want. And then we do have a 3-night post-tour extension to Istanbul for 3 additional nights as well. So I'll go over those towards the end. Another thing to highlight here for this particular tour is our activity level. So we rate these on a level 1 to 4. We consider this a level 3. So level 3 and 4 is going to be kind of a little bit more active. Of course, in some of these areas, there's going to be a lot, more walking. I would say between 1 and 2 hours at a time is kind of an average here for this particular level. You're going to navigate different hills, uneven grounds. Of course, the cobblestone streets and some of those historic areas, they just don't have quite the same accommodations that we offer. So just kind of keep that in mind. There are some longer days, but we balance that out with some free time as well to kind of recharge. So we'll go through the different itinerary or the day-to-day here. Uh-oh, did I lose? I hit the wrong button. All right, back on track. So your overnight flight, you're going to hit the capital city of Athens. So that's where you're going to stay for 2 nights. The hotel here is absolutely incredible. You're staying at a 5-star kind of a conference style hotel in the city center, which is really amazing. You're going to also have this rooftop sun deck as well as a dipping pool. So the pool typically opens in May if the weather allows. So as you're kind of starting here in May, hopefully that will be open up at the same time. But even if the pool isn't available, you still have these gorgeous views from the rooftop restaurants and terrace areas. So definitely take advantage of that. Makes for great picture opportunities. And then really we kind of start you out in the evening. So you'll have some free time to kind of settle into the area, check into your hotel, which is typically around 3 o'clock. So if you do arrive before then, you just simply leave your hotel or your baggage with the hotel and just wander around until your room is ready. But then this evening, we're going to meet up together for a nice welcome dinner. We're going to go to a local restaurant, introduce you to some of those Greek specialties that you'll be enjoying along the way. You're going to meet up with your tour manager, get to know them as well as your fellow travelers. And then we really start out the following day in the morning with a panoramic tour of the city. So we're going to highlight here all the city monuments, such as the Temple of Zeus, the Royal Palace, the Parliament, as well as the Olympic Stadium, of course. So we'll take you around there. You'll have a local guide that will really kind of explain all the different history and folklores behind some of these areas. And then no trip is complete without, of course, visiting the amazing Acropolis. So we'll take you there as well and see that legendary Parthenon. This is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so you can add one of those to your bucket list. And then this evening, we're going to have an optional food tour. So if you want to enjoy it on your own, you're more than welcome to go around town, find a nice restaurant. Or if you want to join and have kind of more structure, we're going to have about a 3.5-hour experience. This will be kind of experiencing Athens as a local. So you're going to join a guide here for a walking tour, highlight some of the different cuisines here within Athens. You're going to walk through 3 different neighborhoods within the city. It's full of just different hidden gems here. You're going to be welcomed here by several local restaurants, bakeries, markets. So you're going to sample some of the area's best culinary specialties. And then, of course, wine as well will be included along the way. So really, your guide's going to explain here the significance behind each dish, kind of how they serve it, what it means to their culture and region. You'll learn some of the common grocery items found in the markets, some of the unique spices that are used in Greek cooking. So really kind of a fun way. Definitely bring a good pair of walking shoes because, like I said, you'll be walking around the different neighborhoods, but really a great way to kind of discover Athens and some of the local flavors. And then the following day, we're going to travel north as we head over but we're going to first stop to Thermopylae. So this is where we're going to stop to see a monument here that's dedicated to Leonidas, who died defending the city against the Persians back in 480 BCE. So as you can see, that's a lot of history here that you're going to be seeing along the way. And then we're going to arrive here in the incredible Meteoria. So this is where we're going to visit 2 remote monasteries. These are very unique as they're situated on the limestone rock towers. Some of them are almost 900 feet in the air. So really impressive to see. Most of these didn't even have access to them. They were really more of a defense mechanism. And the monks lived kind of within this sandstone as well. So they built these little house structures within this stone. So very unique designs, fascinating to see. It is an UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you'll be able to kind of learn a little bit more about that. And then this actually has been a movie set for a couple movies as well, including the James Bond movie and the Game of Thrones. And this was also the 2004 Olympic Games opening ceremony took place in this location as well. So you'll learn a little bit more about the history here. I do want to make a quick note that in order to enter the monasteries here, you do have to have your shoulders covered, and women must wear skirts or a dress that does cover your knees. So that's kind of a unique requirement there. So just want to make the note of that. And then men must wear long trousers. So you do have to cover your knees as well, no shorts. So that's just something to keep in mind when you pack for this particular location. Then we're going to end our day at a family-owned taverna. This is kind of a small, inexpensive local Greek restaurant. Oftentimes has a lot of music and dancing. So we're going to have a nice authentic meal. There's a local family that owns this. So you'll kind of experience some of their local family recipes that have been handed down for generations. And then the following day, this morning, we're going to visit a local studio. We're going to see the different painters' work, creating beautiful Byzantine icons. These icons are really kind of the images of these holy persons, and they're a significant part of the Byzantine Christian church, which has been dated back to the 3rd century CE. And then we're going to continue on to the ancient city of Delphi. This is one of Greece's most important religious centers here in the classic times. So you'll have a local expert guide. They're going to discuss the history here, take you around. You'll visit the sanctuary of Apollo. You're going to see the different temples, the theater location, as well as some time to visit the Delphi Museum. The theater here was built in the 4th century. So you'll see, as you can kind of see here, all the stunning views that kind of as you overlook those mountainscapes. And this is why I love this tour, because most people, like I said, focus on those islands and they really miss out on some of these unique views of the inland of Greece that most people miss. So you're going to get that history and kind of a unique topography as well of the Greece or the country. And then we're going to continue on to the charming Arapova. This offers some breathtaking views of the surrounding mountains and valleys. This is kind of a popular resort ski town here in the wintertime. We're going to stay here for a night and get together for a local dinner at a restaurant together. And then we're going to travel the following day to the beautiful cove along the beautiful Gulf of Corinth. This is on our way to the impressive historic city of Olympia. So this is where most significant in the Greek civilization, has a lot of stories here with some of the Greek mythology that we kind of know a little bit about. But first, we're going to stop to visit a local farm. So we're going to kind of get the countryside of things. We're going to meet the owners, learn a little bit more about their everyday life. Of course, we're going to enjoy a local tasting of wines as well. There'll be some olive oils, homemade jams, some different sweet treats to enjoy. And then we're going to take you to the hotel to settle in for the next 2 nights. And then on day 7, we're going to enjoy a guided visit here to the ancient Olympia. We're going to see the sanctuary of Zeus, the Olympic Stadium, which is where the first Olympic Games were held back in 776 BC. So I cannot believe all the thousands and thousands of years ago, all this kind of created. But it excites me. I don't know if you guys are the same way, but just to kind of think about where you're standing, thinking about all the people that were there before you, all the excitement and buzz that was happening. Wandering those streets, it's just an incredible feeling when you're there to kind of be a part of that in person. And then next, we're going to head off for a really fun Mediterranean cooking experience. So this is where you're going to learn how to cook some of the regional's best dishes. And this is actually, we're going to get you involved a little bit. So you'll learn how to cook this. We'll be doing it together. And then, of course, afterwards, you'll be able to enjoy your traditional Greek lunch. And then this evening, we're going to continue the fun. We're going to have a traditional Greek music with music instruments as well as folklore dances. And then we're going to give you a Greek dance class as well before dinner. So you'll get to try it out, test your skills, and then we'll enjoy a lovely dinner together. Then we're going to enjoy more spectacular scenery as we head towards the ancient city of Mycenae. When we arrive, we're going to first stop here at a family-owned vineyard, but this vineyard does not produce wine. So actually, it's famous for creating the Corneth raisins. These are dried grapes, and we're only really one of few natural sources of sugar from ancient Greece. So you'll learn a little bit more about the traditional process production method here, and it's actually still being used in present day as well. So a really unique vineyard there. And then the following day, we're going to give you a choice on tour. So these choice on tours with Collette, we do include them. They're complimentary. You just get to select what you prefer doing that day. So it just gives you a little bit of variety and a way to customize your trip. So you'll have the option here. If you want to journey over to Mycenae, you can explore the excavations of the guided visit featuring the beehive tombs as well as the Lion Gate. The Lion Gate's the main entrance here to the citadel of Mycenae, and the beehive tombs were actually used by some of the most powerful leaders, and it really took a great amount of effort to create these. So it's pretty phenomenal to see how they've created all these stones and see some of these ancient ruins. Or you'll have the option if you want to join a walking tour instead of Greece's first capital, which is Napoli. This is where you're going to stay for 2 nights. So you'll have a city walking tour here. It's an interesting mix of kind of the Venetian as well as neoclassical architectural influences. It's actually considered one of Greece's most elegant cities. So you'll have the opportunity to take a local guide walking tour here if you want to do that instead. And then on day 10, this morning, we're going to transfer over to the port of Athens. This is where we're going to take a high-speed ferry ride over to Mykonos. It does take about 2 hours to get there. Once you arrive, you're going to have some free time to enjoy. This is kind of the only time that you will have to carry your own luggage. So we can't unload here at the dock and transfer it to the ferry. So basically, you kind of stand in line, you have your luggage with you, and then they'll drop the ferry to all board and get on. You'll simply take your luggage, step up, drop it off on the little section there, and then you can go wander around and sit. So I just want to kind of point that out, that will be the only time that you do have to carry is to load it onto the ferry here. Then after a long day of travel yesterday, we're going to start off with kind of a full day at leisure here in Mykonos. So you can enjoy, it's a slower island pace, really a nice way to kind of end the vacation and kind of these islands and get a little bit more of that relaxation time. But such a charming island. It's known for lots of these little tiny chapels. Of course, the windmills here are really all over the island, whitewashed buildings, lots of museums, and they have over 25 beautiful beaches. So you'll have plenty of time if you want to wander around, see the streets, explore the different areas and the beaches. This is Mykonos Town, so this is kind of that quintessential Greece photo spot. So this kind of leads you into some of the different alleyways. It's kind of a maze of these narrow streets, but you'll find different trendy boutiques, shopping areas, lively bars, and different restaurants. So it's really fun to kind of just get lost in these streets. You'll find lots of these photogenic type alleys. And then, of course, many cafes with stunning views. So it's definitely a great place to get lost in. You can uncover a lot of fun great views and boutiques. And then if you do like more structure, we will have an optional excursion that you can sign up for. So this will be a 4-hour tour experience, and we're going to take you over to the sacred island here of Delos on a private boat excursion. So it's about a 30-minute boat ride over. A local guide's going to come and introduce you to the mythic Greek legends. You'll see different relics such as the House of Dionysus. You're going to see the statue of Cleopatra, the House of Trident, and some of the most incredible views from the island. There's a beautiful theater that kind of overlooks the sea there. You'll peruse the different ancient relics, and you'll end at the temples of Apollo, and then you'll have some free time to kind of explore independently before sailing back. On the following day, we're going to ferry over to the famed island of Santorini. So this is really kind of on a lot of people's bucket list. It's considered one of the most beautiful islands in the world. You're going to stay here for 3 nights. It's really kind of the best of the best here. You have a unique island that was formed after a massive volcano eruption. So you're going to find a lot of beaches that are they've got different colors, black, red, and then they also have some white lava pebbles as well. So they're not that soft sandy beach, a little bit more pebbly, rocky, but absolutely beautiful. And then of course your hotel, you're staying in a 5-star in the heart of the city there. So absolutely incredible to kind of wander around, see some amazing views. Then the next day, we're going to begin a visit here at an excavation site of the ancient Akrotiri. So this is one of the most important prehistoric settlements that are found in the Eastern Mediterranean. It's similar to the Pompeii in Italy, where this flourishing town, it was once destroyed, but it was preserved by ash of the volcanic eruption that happened back in 1450 BC. So there's still so many objects found here. They're continuing the excavations still today. So you'll be able to see a lot of those remains here and get a little bit more of that history. And then we're going to head through the beautiful landscapes, through different vineyards, whitewashed chapels, and we're going to head to the spectacular town of Ia. So this is where you're going to find the best views of the caldera. This is that iconic sunset location that draws people in from all over the world. You'll see kind of masses of people having their drink in hand, enjoying the sunset as it goes down throughout here. So absolutely beautiful. And then we're going to end your day with a visit to a local winery. So they produce very distinctive wines here on Santorini. It is an island and they have a very unique volcanic structure to it. So it's not your traditional wine. So you'll have the opportunity to taste the different flavors that they produce there. And then the following day, we're going to give you a full day at leisure to explore. So again, one of the most stunning landscapes in the world here. You'll have the opportunity to kind of wander around the beautiful streets. They have a great little walk area between all the different hotels and people's homes and things like that along the coastline. So you'll be able to wander around the different pathways there between the villages. They have an iconic red beach that you might want to check out. And they have a really cool open air cinema too. So they have, it's actually shown in English with Greek subtitles. So you can go watch a movie as well one of the nights here. So have the opportunity. There's so much to do. Everywhere you wander, you're going to find beautiful picturesque spots just like this. And then sadly, we're going to bid farewell to paradise, and we're going to fly you back to Athens for your last night in Athens before we send you home. And we're going to get together for a memorable farewell dinner for kind of a traditional last meal of the Greek cuisine before we take you back to the airport. And then you can fly back from there. But if you do want to, you can begin your adventure if you want to do a 3-night pre-start here for our Rome extension. So just to kind of point out, this is not hosted, so you don't actually have a tour manager with you. We will take care of the transportation, of course, when you arrive, take you to the hotel, and then we'll actually have a local guide one day tour you around. We're actually going to include a welcome dinner as well. So you're going to have 3 nights here in Rome. Enjoy the welcome dinner when you arrive. If there are anybody that joined this tour with you, you guys will all get together at this particular time frame, get to know each other, and then you can hang out together if you wish, or you can just enjoy some independent time. The following morning, though, we're going to bring a local guide, kind of give you a quick tour of the classical Rome. You'll see some of the famous sites such as the Aventine and the Palatine Hills. You'll see the ancient Circus Maximus as well as the Arch of Constantine. And then we're going to also have an in-depth visit of the Colosseum, so you'll get to see inside, learn a little bit more about that history, and then really the day is at yours to enjoy. So this is really where you want to take advantage. If you do have any questions or want to know anything, to ask those questions to your local guide, because basically once they depart that afternoon, you really have the rest of the time on your own to really explore. So your last day in Rome here, we will offer an optional tour though to the Vatican Museum in St. Peter's Basilica. So if you do want to do that, we will have an option that you can sign up. There's absolutely nothing that you won't get bored in Rome. There's always something to do here, something to see. And then in the morning, we'll transfer you to the airport for your included flight that will take you over to Athens, which is where you'll begin that main tour and meet up with the rest of your tour. So you have that option. If you want to do both, you can. If you want to do one or the other, you can. But then we also have an extension post tour. So after Greece, you'll have the option to go for 3 nights over to Istanbul. So again, not a hosted experience, but we will include a local guide. So your transportation will be included. Instead of going home, we're going to fly you over to Istanbul. This really is kind of one of Turkey's most popular cities. You'll have the rest of the day to kind of explore, and then we'll have an included dinner voucher at a local restaurant for you, so you can really start that Turkish experience. Get a welcome into the flavors there. And then we'll, the following day, have a local guide that will kind of discover the city with you. So you'll start your morning at the famous Hagia Sophia. So this is the Church of the Holy Wisdom. You're going to continue on to the Blue Mosque, and then you'll have some free time for lunch. You'll be able to continue exploring Istanbul with your local expert, because they're going to take you after lunch to the lively Grand Bazaar and Spice Market. So definitely want to have that guide with you to kind of understand all the craziness and how to kind of maneuver around that. So you'll have the opportunity to enjoy those markets, and then you'll have the evening at your leisure. And then really you're going to have kind of a full day to enjoy what you want to do. But we are going to have an optional excursion if you do want to take advantage and see what a real Turkish bath experience is like. So this is said to kind of promote good health through different massage and heat therapies. So if you want to enjoy kind of an authentic scrub and foam bath, you'll have the opportunity if you want to sign up for a Turkish bath experience. And then tomorrow we'll fly you back or drive you back to the airport for your return flight home from there. So for this particular tour to Greece, we do have a book early and save. It is coming up very quickly. So we have a $200 off discount that is included up until November 12th. Anything after November 12th really is going to be kind of at time of pricing and based on how much space we have available. So for this particular tour, we really only have 10 seats remaining at this time. So definitely don't wait to get your deposit in. It's so much easier to cancel than it is to see if somebody else cancels and opens a space for you. So last day to book for this particular one for this price point is going to be November 12th, like I mentioned. Deposit $600 plus insurance, which insurance kind of just depends on age. You can just contact MOAA Vacations. They'll be able to give you a quote on kind of some of those details behind that. But the land price for this, which includes the transfers to the airport, it includes that inter-country air as well, all the transfers in the hotel accommodations, your 15 meals, the guided tours, and of course that dedicated tour manager is going to be $4,499 plus the insurance cost. And then you just need to call MOAA Vacations and they can give you airfare rates for anything that you're looking for based on where you're traveling to. So if you do want more information or you just kind of want to review, we do have a group website out there for you. So it really kind of outlines that full itinerary that I just went over with you. But it also has a lot of really good frequently asked questions. So it'll give you packing tips and currency information and electricity information, arrival day suggestions, just really kind of houses a knowledge. And then of course, reach out to Jon or MOAA Vacations with any questions that you have as well.
And
so I'll
real quick, Haley, real quick
yeah.
to jump in.
Yeah.
In the email that you got that invited you to this webinar, and in the email that we're going to send with a copy of the webinar, it will have links for this tour. So if you didn't catch that URL real quick, we'll actually email it to you and you can click on it and see it. Those are all on the MOAA website. So
perfect. Were there any, did you see any chat questions come through on Greece that we want?
Yeah, I've been chatting a lot. There was one question, the only thing that really came up that we might want to talk about before we see if anybody else has any questions would be the COVID requirements. And I assume it's the same. I haven't heard any recent changes. So vaccines are still required domestically through the end of this year and internationally through the end of April, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So for this particular one, we may not have any requirements for it, but it'll be country specific. So if the country requires it, then we follow whatever country rules, but Collette will not require it as of April. And then of course that's subject to change. So, but we'll definitely send out any requirements to you and then you can forward it on to anybody.
And I did want to bring up one other thing that I probably should have mentioned at the beginning, but for those of you who saw about this webinar and saw about these tours, in the Military Officer magazine, that actually had the Greek Island Hopper tour listed as April 7th through the 16th. That actually sold out completely. So we worked with Haley and her team, and we now have another MOAA group set up for Greek Island Hopper, which is June 1st through 11th. So.
Yep, so we now are doing June 1st through 11th, 11 days. So this is kind of, it's similar to the tour that I just talked about. So I'll go over this one fairly quickly. But it's going to be a little bit more of a relaxing tour. And it's really kind of focused on more of the islands than it is the inland. So we're going to hit Athens, but really it's just more of a relaxing kind of tour. We have a couple new things that you can add in here, which I'll go over. Weather in June is going to be beautiful as well. And really kind of this early June is kind of right before that summer rush. So I think it's an ideal time to go. It's going to be a little bit warmer too, so it'll give you some more time to enjoy the beach. You're kind of looking at more 80s as a high and lows kind of in that 60s and 70s area with the breezes kind of coming off the sea. But beautiful time of year to go. You'll do 2 nights in Athens. So same kind of concept. We'll start in Athens and then also end for the last night in Athens there before we return home. But we're actually going to give you 3 nights here in Mykonos. So you'll have a little bit more free time there, and then you'll still continue 3 nights in Santorini by ferry, and then we'll fly you back over to Athens. So for this activity level, we rate this one a 2 versus the 3 on the other one, because there's a little bit less walking over different terrains and that kind of thing. But of course, if you do add any of the excursions, it can be a little bit more walking. But overall, with the free time that you have available here, we rate this a level 2, which basically means walking or standing for 30 to 45 minutes at a time. Of course, you still will have the different terrains and, you know, uneven surfaces, cobblestone streets, just because of the topography here, hilly kind of areas and islands and that kind of thing, but just kind of keep that in mind. And then, so here again, we're going to start in the capital city of Athens. You're going to settle in. We're going to have a lovely welcome dinner to get to know everybody. Then you're going to join. Mute. Somebody's on there. All right, got those guys muted. Sorry about that. So then we're going to take you on an early morning. We'll ferry over to Mykonos. The ride again is about 2 hours, and then we'll transition you there to the hotel. You'll have some time to kind of explore on your own here. So Mykonos, again, whitewashed windmills, beautiful beaches, seaside cafes, musicians in the street. So lots of things to enjoy here. You'll have a full day to relax on your own, explore the charms here, beach hopping. They have 25 beaches, definitely a great place to get lost in. And then this is a unique one that wasn't offered on the other tour, but you will have the option. This is about a 7.5-hour tour, but it's the flavors here of Mykonos. So it really kind of introduces you to the different flavors of the island. In the morning, you're going to visit a local farm. You're going to hear about the different variety of the olive trees that they have and the different flavors that they produce. You'll sample them, of course, and get to see kind of the different quality levels of the oil. You'll learn a little bit about the traditions. You'll also see kind of the history of cheese making. And then, of course, more tasting. You'll have a variety of cheeses as well as some fresh made yogurt that the farm produces. And then the food tour doesn't stop here. We're actually going to hit a local bakery in the Mykonos town. This is the same family has been actually operating a traditional wood fire oven for more than 2 centuries. So you'll get to enjoy some delicious treats here. And then you'll have some time to wander the streets on your own. And then we'll give you a full day, another day at leisure. If you don't want to take advantage of that food tour, you'll have another full day that you can enjoy as well. The island is really easy to get around on. There's local buses, taxis, scooters that you can rent, ATVs. There's a water taxi as well that will take you. And then, of course, by foot, you can walk around as well. So a little bit relatively more of a flat island than Santorini is. So it is nice to walk around. And then again, this is the picture of that old town, which is kind of where you're going to find a lot of the trendy shops and lively bars and different restaurants. And then we have another tour that you can sign up for, which I mentioned the last one. But if you want to take the private boat over to Delos, you'll have the option here. It's a 4-hour experience. Then you'll have that guided tour of the island itself, get to know a little bit about those Greek legends, and then we'll end up with some free time when you arrive back to the island. Then on day 7, we're going to ferry over to Santorini, which is where you'll hang out for the next 3 nights. So this, again, you have modernistic wineries, a brewery, fantastic dining that you'll be able to experience. We'll still take you to that excavation site for the ancient Akroti. You'll be able to learn more about this prehistoric settlement in the Eastern Mediterranean area. And we'll still head over to the spectacular town of Ia. So this is where, again, that beautiful sunset, everyone really congregates here and sees the sunsets from the end. And then we'll take you over to that local winery, learn a little bit more about their wines. And then you'll have a full day to explore, wander around the different streets, go to the cinema. And then we'll have a optional island hopping and sunset cruise. So this is unique as well. You'll have a 7-hour experience here. We're going to first go to a tiny inlet of Nia Kameni. This is an uninhabited island that was formed on an active volcano. Local guides actually going to take you up to the top of the crater. Beautiful views from up there to the sea. Then you'll kind of, after exploring up there a little bit, you'll return back to the boat. Then we'll have the opportunity where you can jump in the water, and then there's a kind of a therapeutic mud area where there's these sulfic waters and kind of a hot spring. So you'll have to swim up to this island to find those springs. Or if you want, you can just relax on the boat or just kind of wander around the water where you are. But then later, after you have the opportunity to enjoy some of those hot spring waters and the therapeutic mud, we'll continue on to Therasia. This is an authentic island that embodies the traditional culture of Greece. So we're going to have a Greek buffet on board. You'll have incredible views on the water as you dine. And then we're going to stop at the Ia area as the sunset. So you'll get a really cool opportunity to have that beautiful sunset spot, but on the ocean. So you'll have a little bit different perspective there of all the different breathtaking colors and being on the water, just absolutely beautiful. And then we'll bid farewell to the Greek islands and fly you back to Athens for your last night. And then again, we'll include a nice farewell dinner to Athens and move you on to your hotel afterwards. For this particular one, we do have an optional for the Istanbul post tour. So we do have this if you want to extend your stay a little bit more, you can fly over, see Istanbul a little bit more. Again, you'll have that local city tour the following day, so you'll have some time to ask them any questions. You'll have free time with your own, and then you'll have the opportunity if you want to sign up for that optional Turkish bath experience that I mentioned earlier. So we do have a book now, early saving as well. This one actually lasts until December 2nd. This is a $300 off air discount that you'll receive. So again, airfare is not included. You just contact MOAA and they can give you the rates, and then you'll receive that $300 discount on top of that. Deposit for this one is $698, and then plus the insurance, which again, MOAA can give you a rate on when they quote you. Last day to book for this one is again December 2nd, and final payments not due until April. Land price, we're looking at $35.49, and that does include your membership discount being a part of MOAA, so that is already taken off of there. We do have 15 seats left on this one, so again, don't wait until that December date. Definitely get your deposit in, and then we can go from there. Same thing, there is a web link that you can go to for all the detailed information. And again, they'll send that out to you as we get a little bit or after this webinar. Any questions for this particular one, John?
I've been answering them as you go. I
Cool.
think, well, let's hop into the last one, and then we can open it up for questions at the end.
So this one's really cool. We're basically going to step into Living History Museum. So we're going to celebrate some of the most treasured artifacts around the world. This is not a religious program, but of course there will be religion components in here simply because of where you're going, the Holy Lands here. It really is kind of just incorporated with different multiple faiths and beliefs along the way. And it's really one of the most diverse countries in the world. So you can actually find almost all religion orientations here. So really cool to be a part of this. Weather is going to be a nice time. You're going to have pleasant temps here in November between 60s and 80s. Of course, you'll stay away from that summer heat. Traveling in the November time period, and then usually a lot less tourist as well. So really a great time to travel to Israel. You're going to fly in and out of Tel Aviv here. So as you can see, you're going to stay 2 nights. Then you're going to head over to Tiberias for 2 nights, which is kind of where you're going to see the Sea of Galilee and get some of those really cool textbook sites. And then we're going to head over to Jerusalem for 4 nights. So as you can see, it's a nice pace, not a lot of moving around hotels here, and you're really going to see a lot. So overall, the activity level is a 3 for this one. You will have periods of time where there may be about 2.5 miles that will be kind of walking at a time. We'll stop, of course, along the way, but there may not be, rails or any kind of assistance along some of these locations. So just keep that in mind. Uneven hills, of course. Jerusalem has some steep roads, some kind of hilly areas that you may have to walk up and down. And then this does have a kind of a combination of longer days as well to see some of these areas, but balanced again with some free time as well to relax. Really, there's not a whole lot of motor coach drives in here, nothing that's really over 2.5 hours at a time. Usually it's between 1 and 2 hours, kind of with stops along the way. So it's a very compact area. You kind of consider back in the day, they had to ride donkeys kind of back and forth between all these areas. So it really is compact and a lots to see in one area. So won't be so much driving in the bus. But again, you're going to start here in Tel Aviv. This is really kind of considered the Miami of the Middle East, a very modern business city, kind of that nonstop hustle and bustle. We'll have a welcome dinner reception at your hotel. And then really after a good night's sleep, we're going to start you off the following morning. We're going to start here in the White City, UNESCO World Heritage Sites section that's kind of within the Tel Aviv area. And it's really famous for the Bauhaus architecture. So you'll get a little bit history lessons behind that. Then we're going to stop at the Carmel Market. This is where you're going to get a nice walking food tour with a local guide. You'll have, fresh hummus that you'll be able to sample and incredible different street foods along the way. So that's always a fun part of these tours is any food related people just love. It's one of my favorite things to do when I travel. And then this afternoon, we're going to walk the narrow streets here of Jaffa, which is an ancient port city. And then you're really going to have the rest of the day and evening on your own to explore and just kind of settle into your area. Then we're going to leave the modern city behind. We're going to follow the coast to the ruins of an ancient Roman city called Caesarea. This is really, you're going to see a lot of Roman influence here. So it has kind of a unique culture to this. Then we're going to enjoy a traditional homed cooked Arabic meal for lunch. We're going to visit a local Druze member at their home. So really fun experience. Again, you're going to interact with locals. We're going to get you involved in the culture. Great opportunity to ask questions and learn more about them. They're always asking us questions as well. They want to know about us. So it's always a fun, to kind of get to know each other and learn a little bit more about our history or our cultures. Then after lunch, another breathtaking stop here. We're going to stop at the Haifa. This is where we're going to admire the Baha'i shrine, the Garden of Mount Carmel, which is also a UNESCO heritage site. And Mount Carmel is actually considered a holy mountain. So we'll have a little bit more history lessons in this area. And then we're going to set sail on a really cool and unique replica boat, which is reminiscent of the 1st century. So you're going to cruise along the Sea of the Galilee here. You're going to end your day as you reach Tiberias. This is a sacred city that overlooks the Sea of Galilee, and this is where you're going to stay for the next 2 nights. So really this area is kind of famous for those in the New Testament area, walking on the water, feeding the fishes. All of that really took place in this location. So you'll get a lot of references there. And then we're going to begin our day at an excavated ruin site here in Magdala. This is where kind of the hometown to Virgin Mary. And then we're going to stop at a local winery set upon the hills here in the Upper Galilee. You're going to enjoy lunch, taste some unique wines that are produced in accordance with the kosher tradition. So again, another unique wine experience. And then we're going to have the rest of the evening at your leisure to explore. The following day, we're going to drive to the historic city of Nazareth. So this is more than just a religious town here. It's known for where Jesus grew up, but it's also a really awesome culinary scene now, and it's becoming more of a modern business city. So you'll get to see kind of the changes that are happening there. And we're also going to visit the Church of oh, what is this one called again? I forget. Annunciation. Sorry, I almost lost that one. You're going to visit the Church of Annunciation here, the traditional location, which is actually Jesus's boyhood home. And it's also the home to Virgin Mary. So you'll have the opportunity to reflect here before we move on. We're going to head south to the Mount of Olives. This is where you're going to see that iconic view of Jerusalem, including that gold shining dome of rock. So this is kind of a unique spot. You can see really a lot of the different layers from this location of the different histories and heritages kind of overlooking the city as each one kind of layers on top of each other. So really cool spot to see. And then tonight we're going to get acquainted with the Jewish family traditions. We're going to join a local family and enjoy a traditional meal in their home and get to know a little bit more about the Jewish culture. Then on day 7, we're going to have a lovely walking tour with a local guide. We're going to discover the old walled city here of Jerusalem. We're going to, of course, see the Western Wailing Wall, which is a must. This is a really unique and fun experience. I would not say fun, but really kind of a passionate and emotional experience. You'll have the opportunity if you want to write a wish or a personal note on a scrap piece of paper, and you slide it into the cracks there in the wall. So this is kind of where visitors do that over the years. So if you want to have that option, you can. Just one thing to note here is that men and women are separated in this area. Men do have to wear a yarmulke. So if you want to bring your own, you can, or they will be them available to check out if you want to. Women must cover their knees and shoulders as well. And then just kind of remember to be quiet and respectful. This is an active worshiping and prayer spot. So you really, within minutes, honestly, when you kind of walk into here, you really understand why they call it the Wailing Wall. You will hear kind of sobs and people praying and kind of rocking back and forth. So it's really a beautiful experience to see, and really only uniquely here that you can see in Jerusalem. So really amazing. And then we're also going to visit the temple area. We're going to see outside of the Dome of the Rock. We're going to see the Church of St. Anne, and then we're also going to walk the path of the Stations of the Cross. So this walk can be another emotional experience. If you're a Christian, this is definitely a site that you have to put your eyes on here. It's the streets of Jesus's final days. This is where your kind of faith turns from that black and white into color. You're going to see everything that you've read about in those history books and in the Bible, and it's really going to come to life here. So, you'll get goosebumps. It's kind of an overwhelming feeling as you kind of walk through these streets, but you'll have that experience there. And then we're going to immerse yourself here with some of the everyday culture as we visit the Jerusalem Shuk. So this is kind of the bazaar in the old city. This is considered the heart and soul of the Israeli society. It's really colorful, lots of energy buzzing around. You're going to have these narrow streets, and each one is kind of dedicated to different trades that have passed through different generations. So you'll just be able to check out some of the different streets, see all the different varieties here, and then the remainder of the day is really yours to explore and enjoy. We will have an optional tour you can sign up for. This is a really cool experience, Jerusalem at night for 3 hours. You're first going to drive by, see the old city walls here, the Temple Mount, the Mount Zion, and then we're going to walk through the Jaffa Gate, which is the old city area, visit the Tower of David, and then we're going to have a spectacular night display. So this show is kind of set against music here, and it has these giant virtual reality images that are kind of posted out into the sky there, and it just celebrates all of Jerusalem's spiritual and historical roles across the centuries. So it kind of paints you that picture as their story unfolds really in the sky for you. It's a really cool light and sound show, an outdoor event there. This is a weather condition obviously related, so hopefully everything goes well there, but super cool experience to be a part of that at night. And then the following day, this will be another emotional morning as we begin to visit the Yad Vashem. So this is the World Holocaust Remembrance Center. You're going to visit the different numerous photographies, the diaries, different archives that you'll be able to enjoy at the Hall of Names. It's very powerful memorial here. It lists all the Jewish people that perished during the Holocaust. And then you may have an opportunity to talk with a Holocaust survivor as well. So they try to have someone there. Unfortunately, due to some of the fragile health conditions and due to COVID, sometimes they're not able to be a part of this. But if they don't, then they do replace that with a screening of some recorded testimonies. So you'll still be able to watch some of their stories as well. So then we'll move on. If you will have some free time to kind of rest up if you want to, or if you want to sign up, we do have this optional excursion to go visit Bethlehem. So this will be a 5-hour excursion. We're going to visit the Church of Nativity. This is the birthplace of Jesus and the first church that was ever built. So this is where an expert guide is going to walk you through the town, discuss the history and significance of this area. And then before you return to Jerusalem, you'll return to Jerusalem and have an evening on your own. You will have time allotted here for the entry into the Nativity Grotto. So if you do want to stand in line here, just keep in mind this could be between a 2 and 3 hour wait to wait here. So you will have to kind of stand in line the entire time, and you may have to miss some of the guided narrative there, but you will have the opportunity if you do want to visit and enter that Nativity Grotto, you will have the opportunity to do that. Then on day 9, we're going to travel the desert fortress over to Masada. This is kind of situated on a cliff next to the Dead Sea. We're going to take a cable car up, super cool experiences, amazing views. You're going to ascend here, go see the ancient walls. You'll have time to explore the Herod's palace, as well as the Roman camp and the synagogue. And then after this, this is kind of what everyone waits for, is to go float in the Dead Sea. So you'll have the opportunity, it's this lowest point of the earth. Due to the high salt concentration, your body floats naturally, super cool to see. And then of course they say that there's healing as well as beauty properties, so you can take advantage of that. People pay a lot of money and bottle this minerals up, so take advantage while you're here and jump in that sea. Hopefully you'll be 10 years younger when you get out. But then we're going to head over, do a farewell dinner to an incredible journey, and then we'll send you back to the airport for your return flight home. But we do have a couple options as well. So we have a pre-tour. If you want to stop first before joining the tour, you can sign up for 3 nights and visit Cairo. So you'll be able to do here. This is different than the other ones. This is actually fully guided, so you will have a full tour manager with you. It won't be the same person that joins you in Israel, but you will have a tour manager and a local expert that will be with you. So we'll have a overnight flight. You'll start here in Cairo. When you arrive, we'll have a nice welcome dinner, get to know any of the travelers that did sign up for this. And then your day starts exploring kind of the brand new Egyptian, Grand Egyptian Museum. So this is actually not open yet, but it will be hopefully by the time it's projected to open this November, if everything is continuing to go on track. But this is really the oldest and best archaeological museum in the world. And when they open this new one, it's going to be the largest museum in the world. So really amazing. You'll see a lot of the oldest artifacts, including the famous King Tut mask. And then you're going to have the opportunity to walk the world famous bazaar, have time to shop here, the colorful different trinkets, hand painted crafts, and just so much more to explore. Then you'll fulfill your lifelong dream as you head over to the nearby Giza. So this is the in-depth visit that everyone's been waiting for, is to visit those pyramids of Giza, one of the ancient 7 wonders of the world. So we'll take you over there. You'll get to see that iconic great Sphinx. This is the oldest and largest monument in all of the world. It was actually built in the 25th century BC, and the Sphinx is about 240 feet long. And what I am completely amazed about is it was carved from one single piece of limestone. So absolutely incredible. There's even abilities to even do that, and how big that this is. But then really you're going to say goodbye to Egypt as you depart. We'll fly you over to Israel to meet up with your tour from there. Or if you do have more time, you do have the option, and I guess it's not an or, you can do both of these if you want, but this will be a post tour afterwards. So if you want to, you can extend your stay, head over to Jordan, really to go see Petra. This is a must see if you're all the way over there and you haven't seen it. Highly recommend it. So this will be a 3-night experience as well. Fully hosted as well, so you will have a different tour manager. So we'll fly you over there. There are a couple different Israel exit taxes and Jordan taxes, so we'll let you know about those, but they're fairly nominal, so nothing really major to worry about there. And then really you're going to start here as we take you to the city of Madaba. This is the city of mosaics. We're going to stop and visit the St. George's Church. This is where you're going to find that famous 6th century Byzantine mosaic map of the region. And this is actually one of the oldest in existence. And you're also going to visit some of the museum with other mosaics on display. And then we're going to take you over to visit Mount Nebo, which is where Moses saw the promised land from across the distance. And this is also said to where Moses has been laid to rest. And we're going to end our day. We're going to have a lovely dinner together at a popular local restaurant. And then the following day is a full day tour as we head over to the remarkable stone carved city of Petra. So this was actually hidden for behind some rugged mountains. It was only discovered about 1812, and it was lost for over 500 years. So really incredible. You'll have the opportunity to explore this breathtaking city. A local expert guide is going to take you around the history, talk about the decline, as well as the different preservation efforts that are still happening today. And then on your last day, we're going to venture out to the desert of Wadi Rum. This is kind of the home to the famous film Lawrence of Arabia, but you'll have the opportunity here to talk to some of the Bedouin people. You'll experience that desert life, learn a little bit more about their fascinating history, and really how they live out here in this desert. And then we're going to pause for lunch at a local campsite before we hit the Dead Sea. So you'll arrive here by late afternoon as the sun is setting over the Promised Land, and you'll have a really nice view here of the sea in the evening. And then we'll transfer you back the following day to your airport for a return flight home. This one has a discount as well, and you have until May 6th to book this one. So this is going to be a $200 air discount if you book before May 6th. Insurance, again, can be quoted by MOAA Vacations, as well as the flights that you want, but land price, including those inner flights, will be $3,449 based on double occupancy. Deposit for this is just $600 plus whatever insurance. Again, you have until May 6th, and final payments not due until September 6th of next year. So lots of time to make payments or save or however you want to do. And then here is that group website that they'll send out for you, but definitely take advantage of this with some of the information. And then of course, you'll be able to reach out to Jon with any questions or the MOAA Vacation agents. And that's about it. So
there you go. I think I got all the questions answered except one, but we may get some more while we're talking. And somebody asked about bringing prescription medicines into Greece. You know, we have the standard kind of thing that we say when traveling with prescriptions, that make sure that it lists the generic name. It's always wise, particularly if it has some kind of painkiller in it, or depending what the prescription is, to have what do they call it, the medical certificates from your doctor. And if at all possible, make sure the names on the prescription bottles match the name on the passport if you can, or at least close enough so they can tell. I mean, you know, some people, I think the difference between Jonathan and John's not a big deal, but we have members whose name is, you know, Bob Scott, and they go by their middle name Mark. And so the names don't actually match up. We also tell people you're best always to bring them in the original container, which has the information on it, instead of putting them in one of those pill things. And obviously that wouldn't reply to a lot of medicines. But since the question was asked, and I know Greece is a little different on some of these things, Haley, can you talk to prescription drug restrictions going into Greece?
I honestly don't know if there's any restrictions, but definitely I've always thought the same thing. If it's kind of a narcotic or has some of those kind of components into it, you definitely want a medical certificate showcasing that that's yours. So I think that's accurate. And before, from what I've heard recently, you are correct in bringing the bottles with you, because I've been hearing more and more that you can no longer just put them in Ziplocs and go, that some people are getting questioned and stopped. So I would definitely take, you know,
a lot of it depends. You know, what I would suggest to Theodore, who asked the question, or anybody else has that question, when you call MOAA Vacations, just ask that question to Steve or Mike, or our two Collette experts, or anybody that you speak to, and they can help you do that kind of research. I know, and this was years ago, wasn't diazepam or something like that, one that they were restricting in Greece, that a lot of people didn't understand why that one was restricted, but it was, you know, something that was in that is the reason that they were, you know, there was some type of restriction on it. But as I said, you always want to take, you know, those common sense, bring them in the bottle, you know, make sure the name matches, bring the doctor's prescription, particularly with narcotics. And then the other thing is the quantity you bring in. They're not looking, you know, if you're going for a week, don't bring in 100 pills. So that kind of stuff. So with that being said, we don't have any other questions. Remind everybody real quick, we will send everybody a copy of the presentation. We will include the links to each of the groups that Haley talked to in detail. But we do have other groups that we have on Collette. And so we'll make sure we send a link again to that website. It was the very first comment that was in the chat. If you haven't clicked on it already, but we'll include that as well, because I think we have like 7 groups, I think, with you. So there's some other destinations, South Pacific, Italy, Scotland, or maybe it was Ireland and Scotland. Anyway, but I know we're a few minutes over, so I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody thank you for coming. We hope to see you again next month for our webinars then, and I'm going to turn it over to Haley for the last word.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We really appreciate your time. We really appreciate your partnership and support. So we're really looking forward to showcasing a really amazing time, and don't think you can go wrong with any of them. So it's going to be a great time. Thanks.
Book one, book them all. There you
Book
go.
'em
Have a great
all.
day, everybody. Have a wonderful
Bye.
weekend.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing some of you hopefully at MOA's annual meeting next weekend. It's actually right
Yep,
here.
I'll be there too. Come say
All right.
hi.
Yes, come see Haley and I here in Kansas City at MOA's annual meeting next week. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye.